Hello. Due to circumstances beyond our control, we're in Studio 1 from a slightly different angle, and I think I'm going to get burnt out by the sun this time. It was too much shade last time, too much sun this time. Right, welcome. We'll have another stab at a vlog, shall we? Give it a go. Now if you've tuned in or looked at the thumbnail and think, oh, that looks a nice film, then you'll need to jump forward 20 minutes and the film's about there. You could always stay with us and join in the comments, see what we can learn. You're most welcome to stay. You could even join in. Imagine that. Right, okay, let's get underway then with our first vlog from Matters Arising. This is arising from the last two films that we did. One was on the Stroud branch of the Knaresworth branch, if you see what I mean. And then the other one was a tunnel entrance, magnificent tunnel entrance. So anyway, let's see what we thought of the Stroud thing first, and we'll start with Trev. Why not? Why not? He says, thank you for yesterday's Matters Arising and the film of the Stroud branch of the Knaresworth Railway. Back in the day, and in poor weather conditions, it was not unknown for the freight traffic to the gasworks to slip and the train had to be divided. Oh, no banker engine, then just cut it in half and take it up in bits. Good idea, yes. The Stroud Gas, Light and Coke Company was established in 1833. 1833. Wow. And then Trev does his usual and gives you all of the information from around there. He did a lot of research and he shares it with us. Absolutely brilliant. It includes the Stroud Water Canal. It goes into why the gasworks and all the expenses involved in that siding. Who's going to pay for that lot? The turntable, the coal hopper, the tipper and the coal chutes. So you get the financial picture. According to Kev, 3,000 tonnes of coal a month that place consumed. Crikey me. A big hole in the ground that left somewhere then. Yeah, the gaswork closed in 1956. Kev goes on to describe a bit more of the actual branch line then, and the actual station in Stroud was built of wood and was sufficient for 4 carriages. So not exactly huge then, they weren't expecting that much business. There you go. Right, okay, so that's Trev's bit. Go and read all the details and you'll learn a lot. Well done. Thanks for your trouble, Trev. Even if you are a pain with your aeroplane now and again. Right, Pete Payne. The quality of that brickwork on those bridges and abutments was quite something, wasn't it just? Absolutely magnificent. Those brickies knew what they were doing, my gosh. They had real pride and skill then, he said. Can you imagine the cost of those bricks today? A lot. I would think. Marilyn. Our virtual Parkinson's family, virtual elder sister. Our Marilyn, and she gets around us, Marilyn. So, good afternoon, Ron. Hope you and Pauline are well, even if you deprive Pauline of some scones. Shh. I'm trying to keep that quiet, Marilyn. She'll be on my case out. She said, I enjoyed the vlog as there is some confusion in my mind between where the Knaresworth branch ended and also the line from Dudbridge joined into things. There you are, solved a mystery for Marilyn then. Good. I managed to get to Buxton and back this week, she says, all in one piece, plus a coffee and a bun. Marilyn does like her cafes. She said, in the days of steam, a loaded steam train ran into the back of one in front when a tiny vital bit failed. And there's a memorial in the shape of a twisted buffer at Chapel and Lefrith station. Didn't know that. I wonder what the vital part was then. You've only given us half a story, Marilyn. I wonder what that was all about. I can't say I've heard of it. Chapel and Lefrith. Yeah, okay. So there's quite a cold window this week, and I'm having to go out with layers on now. I know. It's come to that now, isn't it? Well, it's warm in here with that sun coming through. She said one of the trains had all the windows open, so it was a bit drafty. I suspect it might have been. The Class 150, and not many of those about now, she says. Good old northern trains run all sorts. Lionel the Merry Travels. Trying to think what Lionel's last film was. No, on the station, wasn't it? The signal box. Yeah, that was worth looking at. The old signal box. Brilliant. Well done, Lionel. He said, I know I've said it before, there are so many railway relics to find in your area. Yep. All those once important lines and links now cast aside and unwanted. There was no forward thinking in those days. He said, much the same way my way. Well, the thing is, I think councils are slowly coming on to changing these old branch lines into cycle and walkways. But they want to get a move on because they still keep building houses over most of them. Yeah, get on with it. Malcolm says a very pleasant walk. The brickwork on the overbridges is a work of art. Amazing, combining industrial functionality and beauty of form. Were they designed by Brunel? Don't know. Somebody might better tell us. Paul, perhaps. I wonder if the original architect's drawings are in the archives. Oh, that would be worth looking at, wouldn't it? I'd love to see the original drawings and see how true to form it came out. Perhaps they use the drawings as a guideline. I don't know. I'd love to see. So I do remember walking across the bridge over the Stroud Water, which I assume was the access road to the former Stroud station. And if I remember correctly, it had a cobbled surface. Yeah, I know that road. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Somerset man walking. Oh, Darren. Good morning. Always lovely to hear all the lovely comments from the Parkinsons Walks family. Brilliant. Now, you know that Darren has had a little bit of a problem, but he's got rid of one of his issues, and he's now got another one where he's become addicted to chocolate biscuits. A bit partial to them myself, Darren. Oh well, never mind, you fight that one as well. Abandoned railways. Ron, our correspondence from up in the Cotswolds. Another enjoyable matters arising, followed by a lovely explore in the Stroud Valley. Those capstans were a sight to see. Amazing, wasn't it? I think Marilyn, in one of her notes, said perhaps they were too heavy for them to lug out the ground. Hope so, because it's good to see them in their original location. And the various bridges and buildings as well. Nice to have a confirmation of the wooden version of the viaduct. I must admit I had to read those research notes twice. Yeah, what Ron's referring to there is that the Frampton Mansell viaduct was initially built of wood, and then when that started to deteriorate, they built the arches, the current arches, brick arches, round the outside of the wooden forming. Can you imagine? If it's true, and it must be because Ron's researched it, it means that those two arches with the holes in, which were brick saving or weight saving or whatever, were the only two, but they must have been rebuilt because the others wouldn't have had that in because they couldn't get there because of timber. See what I mean? So yeah, it explains a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. West Country Wanderings, our Paul. The Stroud branch of the Midland Railway is Nailsworth branch. A branch of a branch, he says. Is there a railway technical word for that? Not that I'm aware of, Paul. No, if there is, somebody will tell us. It's a super explorer, he says. A really lovely walk in its own right. And surprisingly quiet, even though you're in quite a built-up area. Yes, so I think you can expect to see a film from the Nailsworth branch line coming out from Paul in the not too distant future. Let's hope so anyway. Brian, young Brian Simpson. Now, this amazes me. This is what makes the comments all worthwhile, I suppose, because somebody suddenly pops up and with some information you wouldn't receive anywhere else. On the walk we came across some fencing which looked to be rather posh fencing, all cast in metal and obviously belonging to some sort of estate. And Brian says, I think the estate railings you mentioned were supplied by the Metal Agencies Company, MAC, based in Bristol, but covered large areas of Gloucestershire and Somerset in the 50s and 60s. So somebody knows where they came from. Amazing, amazing. David, all the way from Spain. David says, that bridge in today's video must be a candidate for the Parkinsons Walk's annual Blue Brick Award, which surely exists, and if it doesn't, it should. He said, I had a chuckle to myself towards the end as you showed the viaduct. I thought you'd walked into the set of Minder, yes, underneath the arches. It was great to see the capstan still in position too. Today I have a visit to a nearby flour mill which is being restored. Wow. I've only been to one mill, which was actually in operation at the time, and the whole thing vibrated. It was water driven. Was it undershot or overshot? Overshot, I think. Technical term. Just means that the water comes in at the top rather than underneath. Right. Well, I don't know whether you took any film of that when you were there, David. If you did, perhaps we'll see some of it. Jim Nichols says, another beautiful walk. It was a nice walk, wasn't it? Very pleasant. And some very interesting remains of railway infrastructure. Some of it quite unusual. Yeah, some of it almost unique, I would think, Jim. Yeah, good. Of course, we're heading for winter with layers. Good old Jim's heading for summer. Down there in New Zealand. James Weeks. Oh dear. Our school teacher from Toronto, Canada. Makes me laugh just thinking about it. Oh dear. I finally made it down to police headquarters, oh you were brave, for a copy of the report on my stolen bike. Yeah, brand new bike got nicked. He said it's needed by the insurance, in spite of me providing a copy of my online report on which the police report was based. Now they say they've got to have a paper copy. I don't know, the insurance company. Anyway, James says it was a bonus in going was that there's a compact but interesting police museum there. Oh, so you got to see that. Admission was free. Ah, the magic words. The magic words for James. The admission was free. So it took a bit of a sting. So it took a bit of the sting out from paying $70 for them to press print on the copier for me. $70 to get them to press print. Oh well, not to worry. Michael from Poland. Michael's been missing for a little while. Great to see him back again. Hope you're well, Michael. Lovely to hear from you. Michael says, what a lovely walk. Fabulous bridges, and what workmanship and skill in constructing them. I was surprised just how isolated the bridges were, yet the pride in the stonemason's work is clear to see. They don't care, do they, really, whether it's in the middle of a town or in the middle of a field. They'll still produce the same high standard. Amazing people. Right. Right. The film from 1 week ago, which was the visit to Maristock tunnel. Yeah, we do call it. It's not a bridge, it's a tunnel, isn't it? Yeah, so that's what Michael was actually referring to in that last comment. I thought I was getting a bit lost, a bit ahead of myself. Anyway, the Maristock tunnel on the northern end, which is virtually inaccessible nowadays, I think. So I've heard. But years ago, it was accessible just, and I've thought I'd share the film with you. And Ron from Abandoned Railways says, another epic exploring the forest. In in Ron's pond, that wouldn't have stopped him. He would have gone through there like a strimming machine. Wonderful. It takes a lot to stop Ron. We're used to it in the good old days, of course. Like all of us now, we've got to be a bit more careful. He said, there's nothing like a wade through mud if that's the price for all your efforts. Well, yes, I think when you look back on it, you think, well, it was worthwhile. But when you're there up to your knees in mud, it's not quite so attractive. A magnificent tunnel portal. What a work of art. Beautiful, yeah. Should be in a museum, shouldn't it? Should be saved for the nation. Absolutely brilliant. Charles from New Jersey, America. He said, the stonework was magnificent. And you get points for endurance and a keen eye. Oh, thank you, Charles. So the old Parkinsons is getting a grip. Well, at least the sun's gone round a bit now. Do a bit of sheltering. Trev. Our Trev. I haven't heard anything up there today. Don't know what's going on. It's good flying weather as far as I can see. Clear visibility. Yeah. Visual flight rules, I would say. There you go. Right. Our Trev said that. I was amused, he says, when you said a few people had already been through the barrier. One of those would have been me. Well, there's a surprise, isn't it? Trev breaking the rules? No, never. Oh dear. He says, carrying on the line, going from the main line, you saw what was the area of Brierley sidings. Ah, right. So then Trev goes and does this week's research. Absolutely amazing. So much there. Tells you so much about that particular area. It just takes your breath away, really. Well done, our Trev. It tells you how it was owned by and built by, some of the layouts and history, with some of the fascinating insights, including the named Horton Bridge. Ah, yes, he comes up with some information on that, and the connecting lines, and Trev just goes on and on and on, describing all this stuff. So if you end up going back out there, then it's wonderful because you can take Trev's notes with you and know what you're looking at or looking for. Absolutely brilliant, Trev. Thank you very much for that. Donny. He says, right and wrong, very intrepid. Thank you. I like a cycle round the forest, but I miss all the good stuff as it flashes by in the blink of an eye. Well, you want to slow down a bit then, Donny. Yeah, well, that is the trouble, isn't it? If you want to see things, you've got to get out and walk, haven't you, really? You've got time to look about. If you're hurtling along on a bike, I think it could be a bit dodgy with all the people down there. Have to be a bit careful, no doubt. Pete Payne says, morning Ron, I enjoyed that one, such a lovely place it was, yeah. The tunnel portal seems to be an unusual shape. Yeah, a few people have noticed. I've seen that shape, well, quite often. I wouldn't say it's that popular, but there's got to be a reason for it, isn't there? Why it's that shape? There's something to do with the side loads or the top loads or whatever. Don't know. But anyway, if anybody knows, give us a comment. He said, I do love a place that has no other sounds other than birds singing. Hard to find these days, but I was in one on my walk with Sid earlier today. Stay safe, Pete and the yob dog. I trust that Sid didn't always do what he's told then. Oh dear. Lenny, I can't believe this. I wonder if it'll blow your mind like it blows my mind. Lenny says, I took a ladder to the western portal of Maristock a good few years back. There's some height to the top of that brick wall. I passed in the end. So Lenny takes a ladder out there to put down the cutting and clamber down that way. Lenny, you could have passed in a different sense if you weren't careful. Crikey me. Amazing, Lenny. Amazing. And then he has the cheek to say to me, take it easy. Marilyn. Marilyn's take on it then. Yeah. He said, How about writing a book on the mysteries of Mirrorstock Tunnel? It's certainly fascinated a lot of people over the years. He said it must have been very difficult tracking through the forest and working out what was railway and which was cycle path, walk path, and then a few tramways thrown in for good measure. Yeah, whenever you're out in the forest you see a levelled off area and you just kind of have to wonder what you're looking at. Yeah, it's brilliant. There's a lot down there. It's had quite a busy week this week, but I managed to get to Buxton and did quite a few steps. See how Marilyn is up to date with all this technology. She got a stepper, wears on her wrist I suspect, like a watch, to count her steps. I wonder if that's daughter driven. And here's Marilyn. This sums Marilyn up in a sentence really. While walking down from the station I smelt baking, so I didn't get too far, but it was a nice day out. Well done, Marilyn. I'm planning my next excursion for maybe Wednesday, she says. Oh, look out everybody. So I was just reading through the comments and there's a wealth of knowledge being shared out there. I know I keep telling everybody. If only the older sister could remember all this information. My husband had a memory like an elephant for railway facts. And she says, best wishes to everyone in the worldwide family from Marilyn. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you. Engage on a shell. Simon. Retire shortly. It must be very early in the morning, he says. I thought the title said Mystery Tunnel Site. I'll be awake shortly. You'll be retired shortly, Simon. You go back to bed. Malcolm said a very enjoyable exploration. An opportunity missed in not reopening that tunnel for walkers and cyclists. Yeah. We keep saying, we keep missing out. David, all the way from Spain. Sunny Spain, is semi-sunny too. He says, the sound of crunching leaves, autumn's on its way. Well worth bringing this one out to the archives, he said. The cutting up to that portal was an incredible feat of engineering and a huge task for a single line route. Yeah, why would you spend all your money doing that instead of just a basic job? And it's because they had pride. I think a lot of the railways wanted to show their neighbours how good they were. Unfortunately, a lot of them cost them the railway because they went bust. But oh well. It's really striking to be able to see the rock faces above into the sides, David says. It just shows you, doesn't it, what they had to go through. Still wondering about the shape of the tunnel though. In the end, making the trip to the portal wasn't too bad, at least that's how it seemed. Yeah, they say the camera never lies, cry. Oh well. We've been having an Indian summer down here in Spain, David says, with temperatures up to 40 degrees at this time of year. 40 degrees, oh, shit. I couldn't cope with it. But the first flakes of snow have now appeared on the weather map in the north. Amazing. I had a great visit to the flour mill last week, he said. It's going to be restored to a semi-functioning state. Rafa, the engineer, said that nowadays the wooden structure wouldn't support the vibrations. I know, I can imagine it. You can't have tight joints in a place like that. There's got to be a little bit of slop in them so that when it vibrates it doesn't shake the thing to pieces. Amazing. Oh well. Jim from New Zealand brings up the tale this week. He says, we don't want to see a video of you being airlifted out of a ravine somewhere by a helicopter because you climbed in and couldn't climb out again. And then he says, well, maybe you'd enjoy a free flight. Well, it's a thought, Jim. Right, okay, so there's that. Well done, you lot. We learnt a lot, we enjoyed it. Coming up in a few seconds' time is the archive film, which is a Cotswold walk. Yeah, it's getting to that sort of weather now. It's too hot to walk in the summer, a lot of times in the summer, so this is just the right time for this sort of pursuit. And it's a village walk around Blockley, very famous Cotswold village. And then next week, this is This is for Peep-Heng. Peter, in last week's comments, I think it was, said about Joseph Telford's via aqueduct in the Gloucestershire Valley in Cornwall. And it's a magnificent structure. And I did film the structure and I also did a walk around the area. But the viaduct carried not only trams, but there's also a water leak built into it. It's amazing, as you'll see. So I hope you'll enjoy that. So I'll shoot off down to Cornwall. I expect you to join me there. Don't be late. Well, not a railway walk. That's half the audience gone. This is a walk in the Cotswolds at Blockley. Of course, Blockley did have a station, but it's about 1.5 miles outside the village. So we'll just have a look around. We might get out to the site of the station later. I will have a look around a beautiful Cotswold village. For reference, there's Morton in the Marsh, there's Chipping Camden, Blockley's between the two, and out of interest, there's where its railway station was. Not really very handy. Very easy walk. You start there, work your way through the village, out through the woods, back into the village, back to the start. Right. Bit of mountaineering required here, I think. Blockley, famous for its silk mills, not its woolen mills. Well, there's the mill stream. There were somewhere between 6 and 8 silk mills in Blockley, depending on your source. The old mill. The size of those things. There we are, a railway link. Colebrook Cottage. Following the old mill stream. Just as well then. Oh, those about. The Blockley Brook, as it's called, was such a good provider of power that in 1887 Blockley became one of the first villages in the Cotswolds to provide its own electricity. They seem to be either up or down. There's no level here. Yeah, make your mind up. Another one there. Blimey, that was a climb. Right, that's the High Street. We're going the other way on this raised walkway. Keep the pedestrians away from all the horses and carts, I guess. Back in the day there were up to 600 workers here involved in the silk trade. There are actually more people living here then than there are now. Greater density per household, I imagine. Dovedale, once the highest mill on the stream. You can vaguely make out the mill stream there. Complete with wildfowl. A quick look at the mill pond, not mill stream. Off into the woods. Then we'll swing round, come back into the village. Up in the high roads. Doesn't get better than this. I think I'm a Cotswold person really. Into a walnut tree wood. It's a bit rare. Out to the woods, as they say. Lots and lots of cars. Right. Turn left on an old track. That'll do. A very sharp turn at the exit. And so it carries on down there, feeding mills as it goes. We climb up here. This, I guess, is the High Street, straight through the centre here. No shops, but there's a pub. which there were 6 pubs back in the olden days. The Church of St Peter and St Paul. There used to be 3 places of worship here in Blockley. Evidently these two decided to share. You got the mouse? Hey? Duty done for the day. The houses here range from 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th century dwellings, all built or mainly built with this gorgeous Cotswold stone. Cheap wine. The village shop, which is a volunteer run organisation. That's an unusual, not a cross. Just a memorial stone. Ah, back there. No, that wasn't too bad, was it? I'll stay with us because, as promised, we're going to head for the station. Blockley station, site of. That's on the Oxford direction, which is where I think it should be. On the other side looks a better prospect somewhere. There's flatter land each side of the rails there. Anyway, that's where the signal box was supposed to be. It's just in this little square here. Site of the old signal box then. There's a few bricks down there, look. In with a good chance. Oh, that's looking towards Worcester. And I guess that could have been the station entrance, couldn't it? So that's the Oxford side, so that's where the station was. And now, as per usual, zip. Right, I hope you enjoyed the walk. If you did, join me on the next one. It'd be nice if you could subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell, and you can like or share. Catch you on the next one.